Welcome to another troubleshooting tutorial. If your organization is using Cisco AnyConnect or Cisco VPN components, you may have come across an error message stating that the VPN connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution. For example, in this device, I have installed the Cisco AnyConnect right here. If you need some guidance on that, I have already posted a tutorial on my YouTube channel. So your clients may be trying to connect to a VPN connection. So in here, I have the ipsec.sanuja.com. So this is the VPN tunnel that I'm trying to connect. And when the users hit the connect button, assuming the user already have an internet connection and they have their network working, they might get an error message saying the VPN connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution. So I'm going to reproduce that right now. So here you go. So Cisco AnyConnect, and the message is the VPN connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution. So this is a very common error that Cisco AnyConnect throw out whenever that it cannot see the IPsec or SSL or whatever the VPN tunnel that it try to reach from the client machine. So how can you troubleshoot something like this? The first thing you need to understand as an IT analyst or an IT specialist is that this error message that the Cisco AnyConnect throw out is not necessarily related to the domain name resolution itself. This is a common error message that Cisco AnyConnect Secure Mobility Client typically throw out whenever it cannot see or connect to the VPN tunnel. For example, the ipsec.sanuja.com VPN tunnel is not active right now, so that means it can't see it. So basically it throw out this error message. So even though the error message is specifically saying domain name resolution error, it may not be what is happening at this time. So keep that in mind. But however, assuming your VPN tunnels are working, so there is no problem with the tunnel itself, assuming other clients can connect to your VPN connection, because that's the first thing you need to check. If your other clients can connect it, but one of your clients is getting this error message, the VPN connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution, that means the issue must be with the client configuration itself or the client's internet connection itself. So again, I'm going to emphasize this very clearly. The Cisco AnyConnect error message where it states the VPN connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution is a common error message thrown out by the Cisco AnyConnect application whenever it cannot see the VPN tunnel, whatever the tunnel is connecting. So it could be that all your tunnels are down and that's why they get this error message. But if other clients or other users in your organization can connect and they don't get this error message for the same tunnel, in this case the ipsec.sanuja.com, that means it must be a problem with your client. So how do you fix that? So assuming the tunnels are working and you want to fix this one particular client that getting this error message, how do you fix that? So the first thing I would do, I'll get out of that error message and open your start menu and type cmd for command prompt. And then I will type ipconfig/all and I will check for the domain name that is connected to. So make sure the domain name is there and primary DNS, domain name service server, is the one that you are looking for. Is this is correct? Is that what we are looking for? If this is incorrect, that means there's something wrong with your network configuration options, which you may need to be we need some manual configuration to fix it. The other thing I will look is to see, the default gateway, the IP addresses, and the internet connection is working properly. Remember, in order for your end client, the client to connect to your VPN network, the client must have internet connection first, because VPN is riding on top of the internet connection. So if the client doesn't have an IP address from their local internet service, the client won't be able to obtain a VPN internal IP address because it can't see the client device. So make sure the client's internet is working by running the ipconfig/all. Now, the most common error in here is that maybe the client have all the proper credentials, but the primary DNS is incorrect, or the DNS configuration is incorrect. You can correct that, which I will go back to in a few minutes. But before that, before we revisit how to fix the DNS itself for the VPN portion, you can also check whether the IP addresses and everything makes sense. Now, if IP addresses and everything is working and the client have internet access at home, maybe you need to run a refresh of the IP address is there. So you just need to release and renew. So what we will do, so the next option we'll do is, if everything is correct, looks correct there, that when you go IP, ipconfig/all, if all of this seems to be correct, it seems to be have no APIPA addresses, for example 192.168.26.2 is a valid IP address, and if everything looks great, and if the domain name and everything is correct, what you should do next is to see ipconfig, and we'll go /release, and we'll go anan ipconfig/renew. So this is another way of fixing the VPN connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution. This might work for some people, so we click enter. What that's going to do, the Windows IP configuration going to go back and it's going to release all the IP addresses currently there, and then it will try to get a new IP address from the DNS server and the local network, so that it will get a new information. So it may be the same IP address as before, but it doesn't really matter as long as you refresh that. So this is going to basically repress the TCP IP stack here as well. So it'll get you a new IP address. So once it is done, you can go back to your client, Cisco AnyConnect Mobility, and hit connect and see it can connect to your VPN network. This might fix your problem very easily. Now, obviously, this is not going to work here right now because my tunnel is actually down. So if your tunnel is working, it might actually won't give this error message. Now, if this error message is still there and this tunnel is still working, other users can connect, for example, and this didn't work, the next thing you can try is ask the client how they connect to the internet. If the clients are connecting to the internet using Wi-Fi as opposed to wired connection to their home internet connection, or wherever they are outside your office, ask them if it is possible for them to go with the wired connection. The reason for that is, whatever the reason, I found that ipconfig release and ipconfig renew sometimes still have the same problem until it see a completely different connection. So if your client is connecting via Wi-Fi, advise the client to connect to the network using wired connection, like a network LAN connection, and it will give you a different IP address typically in most home routers and modems that allow wired connections to be made. So if the client has a Cat5 or Cat6 cable, I would advise them to hook that Cat5 or Cat6 cable and get a new IP address by running the ipconfig release and ipconfig renew once they disconnected from their home Wi-Fi network. Now, if your client is already connected to the internet using a home wired connection, I would do the opposite. I would ask the client to see, hey, can you please connect your laptop or your desktop machine wirelessly through Wi-Fi to your home network, and then disconnect the wired connection, and then run this command, which will get them a new IP address, and then try to connect to Cisco AnyConnect Secure Mobility Client. So that's a second fix you can try, second troubleshooting method that work for me when I work with client at my workplace and other places. So first option is run the ipconfig release and renew as it is. The second option, get the client a different connection, either via using the switching from home Wi-Fi to home wired or home wired to home Wi-Fi, whatever the either way. If the client cannot do either or, advise the client to see if they can create a mobile hotspot on their cell phone using their cell network and connect to the internet and run this command and then connect to the Cisco AnyConnect. The reason for that is because all of these three options, what it will allow you to do is to get your client to somehow connect to your IPsec or SSL tunnels or VPN tunnels, so that it will get refreshed on the entire network that your client now has a new IP address, domain name, etc., for the VPN connection. So that's what we are trying to do here. So if wired and wireless switching between didn't work, maybe ask your client to make a mobile hotspot on their cell phone and see if they can run this command and get a connection to your VPN tunnel. So this is the easiest fix that I found. So again, what it is doing is basically getting your client a brand new IP address, a different IP address in other words, and if they use the mobile hotspot, even a different default gateway, etc., and see if that will bypass this VPN error message. So that's the easiest way, getting a client a different network connection and trying to connect to your VPN tunnel, and that might resolve the issue. Now, if that did not resolve the issue and it still gives you the same error message, which is the connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution, and again other users still can connect and only this user has this problem, it may be caused by a DNS issue within the device itself, and no matter how you or which network you connect to may not get resolved this thing unless you change how the DNS is set up. So to do that, what you need to do is to make sure that your client has administrative privileges, or you log into your client's device remotely, or somehow get the client access to the network connections options on the device, the end device. So there's a couple of ways to get there. One is go to control panel, both on Windows 10 and Windows 11 machines you can do that, and then go to network and internet, and you can go network status and task, and you can go click on internal and you can check that, and you can go to the internet, whatever the network's seeing here, you can go there. The other option is in here under the control panel, network connection, network and sharing center. On the left hand side there's an option called change adapter setting. If you click on it, it'll show all the network connections. Another faster way you can reach here is to use the run command. So you can go to start menu on Windows 10 or Windows 11 machine or even Windows Server, and you can type run, and in here you need to type ncpa.cpl. so it's ncpa.cpl. it's the same way that getting to this location where under control panel, network and internet, and then network connections. So in here, what you need to do, you need to find your VPN connection configuration. So if you have the VPN connection configuration, and make sure you select that one. I don't have it in here, so I'm going to use the internet connection, which is also you can check actually. So you can select that, right click and go to properties, and the first thing we need to make sure, you need to make sure the IPv4 protocol is checked on. Unless your VPN is specifically configured to IPv6, make sure IPv6 is checked off as well. Typically, it's okay to keep both checked on, but if one of these are unchecked and your VPN tunnel is configured in IPv6 and this is checked off, you will get that same error message here. Same with the IPv4. Now, if these are checked off, check properly, and if you still get that same error message and you can connect to the VPN, there may be an error within the configuration or properties of either IPv4 or IPv6 that is causing the unsuccessful domain name resolution error. So to fix that, you just need to click on properties here and change the information down here. However, even after entering the proper DNS credentials, or you are automatically obtaining DNS in this situation, if you're still getting that message, check also the IP addresses up here as well, because a difference in IP address configuration could result in the incorrect domain name resolutions. Notice that if you have automatically obtaining the IP address, you have the option to either automatically obtain the DNS as well. But if you choose the specific IP address, you have to explicitly define what DNS server address should be associated with that IP address. Otherwise, your VPN tunnel won't be able to connect. And you should look into this after you done the previous troubleshooting tricks and it didn't work. That's what you should check. Now, again, like I said, in my situation, I don't have a VPN separate adapter here, but if you do have, you need to check the VPN adapter network connection IPv4 and IPv6 in here under properties, or right click properties in here, as well as you need to check the one that is the adapter facing towards the internet, in this case to the internet, for example, adapter, and you need to check their IPv4 and IPv6 configurations as well. So once those two are checked properly, you should be able to now connect to your VPN AnyConnect, and if using the VPN Cisco AnyConnect, and if that also fail, it could be a security certificate issue. So you could get this error message, not because now the connection has a problem, but has a security certificate error. Because this is a common error message oftentimes throughout by this application. In that situation, depending on your organizational structure and procedures, you may have to get your client back to one of your offices with internal local connections and plug it in their laptop or desktop machine and get the VPN certificates re-downloaded to their device. Different certificate authorities have different methodologies. So there are different companies such as Entrust that provide security certificate solutions. So depending on what solution, what company you go with, how you recover security certificates maybe differ. So again, lastly, if this error is still there after doing the IP release renew, after trying the different internet connection, after checking the DNS adapter settings, DNS on the adapter settings, if none of these actually works and everything looks to be right, it may be a security certificate failure. In that situation, depending on your company's procedure, you may be able to send the security certificate to this device remotely using the World Wide Web, like without VPN connection, like completely exposed to the public. Or you may have to bring, in most cases, you have to bring in the device to your local office, connect to your local servers, and re-download the security certificates from wherever the security certificate provider is, wherever you get that from, and then see if the VPN connection works. So that's a couple of ways that you can troubleshoot and fix the Cisco AnyConnect Secure Mobility Client error message that state the VPN connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution. Again, you should only perform these troubleshooting techniques once you have confirmed that there are other users who can use your tunnels, or once you have confirmed your tunnels are working. If your tunnels are not working, you will still get this same error message, but it's not the problem with the client, it's the problem with your VPN network. So again, you should only try these troubleshooting methods once you have confirmed your VPN tunnels are active and working and other users can connect to it. If nobody can connect to it and everybody is getting the exact same message, if you have 1,000 employees and all 1,000 employees are getting VPN connection failed due to unsuccessful domain name resolution, don't waste your time trying to go through these troubleshooting techniques that I have just introduced to you. Instead of check your VPN connections, check your VPN tunnels, and make sure your VPN servers are up and running and security certificates are all working on your back end before you do any of these troubleshooting methods. So these troubleshooting methods are recommended if your VPN tunnels are working and only certain or handful of users are getting the VPN connection fail due to unsuccessful domain name resolution. And that's everything for today. If you have any questions or concerns regarding anything I covered with respect to Cisco VPN and how VPN error messages can be handled, please reach out to me. And if you have any interesting topics that I should cover with respect to VPN, again, please leave a comment below. And until next time, thank you so much and have a nice day.